Hey everyone, this is Seth Bloom.
David Grimion, we're back.
Yep, we're here for another podcast episode. It's been a minute, but we're hopefully going to get a little more consistent with these things, and because people are asking all sorts of questions. And I guess today we're going to talk about personal injury cases and more specifically auto accidents, and I guess a little bit about how attorneys get paid and how clients get paid from a case.
And there's a lot of confusion about that, and you see a lot of advertisements and things about attorneys saying, well, we don't get paid unless you get paid. And what they're talking about is what's called a contingency contract. A lot of, or most personal injury attorneys operate on contingency fees. I can't talk today. Contingencies whenever they receive a personal injury case. So if you're involved in an accident, what that means is a lot of times the attorney will basically foot the bill.
You're jumping ahead. You're jumping way ahead.
Way ahead. Let's move it back.
Let's move it back a second.
Get excited.
So he's getting excited and loud. But I think let's take it back and let's talk about a little bit about how attorneys usually charge their clients. Mm-hmm. And I think one thing people often think about is an hourly rate. Mm-hmm. They want to put down a conventional retainer, like, okay, I'm going to put down $5,000 with my lawyer, and he's going to bill me or she's going to bill me $200 an hour, or whatever it is. So that's an hourly arrangement. The other option is a flat fee. Maybe someone says, hey, I'm going to do a will. I charge $500 to do a will. Yeah. So the more complicated one, it's really not that complicated, is a contingency fee agreement. And these are what are commonly used in personal injury and auto accidents, and they're the slogans behind billions of dollars of billboards and TV commercials. And what it is, the reason for a contingency fee is it allows someone that couldn't afford a lawyer. For instance, if I got in a car accident and I couldn't work and I was hurt and I didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars to pay my bills with, how could I do that if I had to go out and hire a lawyer at $500 an hour and come up with $10,000? It would be impossible.
Exactly.
So there's legislation in place and other ethical comportments that allow it to be a contingency fee. So what the contingency fee basically means is that your lawyer is going to take the case contingent upon that settlement. So if the lawyer takes your case and you don't get anything, then you don't get anything.
Yeah. But they're not getting anything, and you don't have to pay them back necessarily.
Not necessarily. You should read that contract, because sometimes in contingency fees you do owe the lawyer money, even if you don't get a recovery.
Yeah.
But there's so many options out there, and this is such a competitive area of the law that probably isn't the case. Mm-hmm. So you need
to make sure you read the contract and ask questions too.
Right, and also how to separate property damage versus injury damages. So let's say someone gets in an accident. Client A, we'll make this sound very
sounds like law school again.
Sounds like law school.
Yeah.
So let's say client A gets into an accident and hits their Jeep and has $5,000 of damage on the Jeep, but then finds out that they have a neck issue. They have a ruptured cervical vertebra. Mm-hmm. And ends up having to have, a year or two of surgery and treatment and so forth. And after it's all said and done, whether they're able to settle the matter or whether it goes to trial and they win or lose, or win in this case because they're getting a fee by jury or judge, I suppose, how that money and how the lawyer is going to get paid. So let's say after that was all done, the other insurance company made good on that, and State Farm or Geico or whoever it is paid $5,000, fixed the car damage, and they've agreed or through a trial have settled the case for $100,000. Mm-hmm. $100,000. So how does the lawyer get paid, and what do you get paid from that? Typically on a contingency fee, most contingency fees are 33 1/3%, up to usually 40%. And each state has different requirements. In Louisiana, I believe you can take even higher than that. I know you can take higher than 40%.
Yeah.
But commonly it's 40% if the case goes to a lawsuit. Mm-hmm. So what that would mean in that case, if there's $100,000 there and the lawyer's taking 40%, then the lawyer would take 40% or $40,000, and there'd be $60,000 left over. What people have to remember, out of that $60,000, unless the agreement's different, that's where medical bills, copies, paper clips, whatever that lawyer is going to put in there. So you have to understand how that settlement's really going to work, so you know what your bottom line is. And certainly, it's very important to make sure that all your health care is covered.
And in any injury case, that's the most important thing, is your health. So the doctors obviously need to be paid back if the lawyer was footing the bill. And as far as all those questions or things, you can ask your attorney or ask us when you come in and meet with us about your injury case. We'll be happy to go over everything that's in our contract and explain it fully to you, so you understand whenever there is a settlement or a trial and something's awarded, what's going to happen.
And a contingency fee is a vehicle, no pun intended, to allow people that don't have access to fight a big insurance company to get representation. Now, probably if you had all the money in the world and you wanted to do this at an hourly rate, sometimes it may work out better for you.
Yeah.
But,
it's just typically not, how it's done. And at least Louisiana, I'm sure some states may be a little different. But a lot of times that's, as Seth was saying, allows everyone access to a lawyer and doesn't allow the multi-billion-dollar insurance company to push you around or to try and not settle for what your case is worth.
Right. So I think that covers it. We've talked about how a personal injury lawyer gets paid, and whether that's an auto accident or a different kind of injury. Contingency fees are the typical way they would be compensated. Not the only way. And without sounding like a commercial, if you've been injured, but if you have any questions about an auto accident, an injury, personal injury, or anything else in the legal world that we represent here at Bloom Legal, David and I will be happy to speak with you.
We're always here.
We're always here. This has been another podcast for Bloom Legal, and hope to hear from you next time.